The following is an Operation Podcast production.
And I was down the path and I was really realizing, like, dude, I'm depressed. I don't want to go to work. I'm unhappy. I don't want to get out of bed. And I have no baggage, no kids. I'm fit. I live in LA. Like, why am I feeling this way? And I started digging inside and doing the work and figuring this out, which led me back to art.
Vibing, yeah. Me and my folks all good, that sun is shining. Ay, chillin' with my feet kicked up like I ain't trying. Yeah. This is what I want a summer, yeah. Gangs all here, let's run it, yeah. Vibes right here, 100, yeah. I've been on game like EA. Sippin' too soon, that pregame. Sign to find two, that three-way. I just went fast like we late. I just thank God like he said. How can I not, yeah, we straight. See this tap in.
All right, I think that's as quiet as it's going to get. So my name is Curran Lewis. This is the SoHo Warehouse Studio. New space been open for about 2 months. We cater more so to the SoHo Friends program. It's a new program where it's an accessible access to the SoHo rooms as well as studios around the world. Here at the studios, we are all about cultivating culture and community. Thank you, Sergio, for curating this magical event.
Yes,
Ruben, my friend, hello.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Nice pants.
I appreciate it. He painted these, by the way. So yeah, they're really cool, and you can't have them. So I want to start, and this conversation, a lot of you might know who Ruben is. Some of you might not. But one of the most fascinating things about him is his journey and what brought him here. So, Ruben, what was your journey to becoming an artist? And maybe we'll keep it to the smaller version.
Smaller version? First, double shout out to Humble. Thank you so much for that. Let's give him a round of applause. He does have an amazing book coming out. I've been able to preview the early manuscript. It's beautiful. Check it out. Get it. And thank you, Sergio, for putting this together and your team, because this is what art is about. So what was the question again?
Yeah, what was your journey that brought you here as to become an artist? Because you are a full-time artist.
I'm a full-time artist. So I've been an artist my whole life, but I took the scenic route. That's my greatest creation back there, squealing.
He actually made all the art.
Yeah, give him all the credit. Remy Love. But, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have the creator economy. We didn't have what we see now. It was go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go to corporate America, you know, the typical path. So that's what I did. I went to school to study to become an orthopedic surgeon. Then I ended up in real estate. Then I ended up in finance. But here I am, back to what I was supposed to be. It just took a really long road to get here. But when you actually surrender to the voice inside of what you're supposed to be, the answers are all there. Who you are, your purpose, and all these things that we're chasing, it's all inside of you if you just listen.
It's very true. And I mean, if you can't tell by the art that's here, right, love has everything to do with who you are and your art. And the question might be like, why love?
Good question. We operate out of love or we operate out of fear, right? You open up your iPhone in the morning, or your Android for the Android people. You turn on the TV, and there's no lack of fear bombarding us, right? Shootings and pandemics and abortion rights and gay rights and all trans rights, like you name it. And it's not about what side you're on, it's how it's being put in our faces. But we actually get to choose how we want to view the world. And we forget that we actually have that choice. So putting up love every time, I'm trying to invite you to choose to view the world through the lens of love. Just look at it positively. It's not easy. I get it. Trust me. I freak out. I'm human. I'm irrational. All these things. It's real easy to give someone the bird, cuss them out, and go down that path, or to commiserate about the victimhood that's happening all around us. But choosing it daily and choosing that practice, I know, buddy. It's there and it's all around us. So why love? Love is because that is what unites us. That is what moves us forward. That is exactly the frequency that we vibrate on. And because it's the only thing that matters. And I'm not talking romantic love and Valentine's Day. Use love as a verb. It's action. Humble actually told me, like, love is fuel, not glue. We like to think like, oh, I love this person. I need to stick and stay in this relationship. Do you, though? Are they refueling your love tank, and are you fueling theirs? Why are you actually in it? So what are the choices you're making in life? Why are you in this career? Hi, buddy.
Love.
That's why love.
Yeah, it's super powerful what you talk about, and it's funny because, you know, we've been friends for a very long time, right? I consider you my brother. This is wild, seeing him with a kid. It's just like a little miniature clone. He's awesome. And he's going to become a painter one day, too, and definitely living through love. Maybe he'll be smart. Just kidding. Live through love is Ruben's slogan, your brand, really. And I think that you can see that resonate in what he says and what he talks about. I can't compete with this.
You said focus, Sergio.
I can't. I'm loving. But yeah, it's easy to say, it's easy to practice, it's easy to do, and then it's also easy not. And something we were recently talking about, actually, I think we were talking about it on a Twitter space, is that it takes effort to hate, which will be the opposite of love, to be, you know, and it takes effort to love too. The only difference is that when you give effort to love, it comes with so much more that will benefit you and other people. And that's just something that resonates with me and his work. And damn, your kid's so cute.
Can't get mad at him.
Not at all. I don't know whose hair he takes after the most, because if you can't tell, but both of these guys have like jungles of hair.
It's right in the middle.
Like the most. What was that shampoo? Like Herbal Essence? If anyone remembers that. Dude, he's going to be a speaker.
This is why love.
So this is a question for Remy. How did you hear about Web3 and NFTs?
I was born into it.
He's going to be more metaverse ready than everyone. Huh? So how did you hear about Web3 and NFTs?
I'm just going to enunciate. So it's been around probably a year before I started playing in the space. And, you know, just a little fun fact. In 2016, I started using augmented reality in some of my murals, but it was very cumbersome technology, right? You had to stand in the perfect spot, line it up perfectly, have the perfect lighting for the mural to activate. And there's a lot of technologies that have been around, and they've been out for a while, like the QR code. That thing was genius, but it was here way too early. So now we're using it much more. Thank you, pal. So anyway, about a year ago, April last year, babe, come on. I released the first NFT drop on OpenSea. And originally, it's interesting because I'm a very physical artist. I started with murals, huge walls. That's where I started. And then I go to canvases. And I've got digital work as well. But I always, for some reason, downplayed my own digital art. And now we have NFTs, right? And a lot of people talk about how, oh, it's just digital art. Like I could take a screenshot of that. Why is it important? Because of Web3, because of everything else you can do with it. And going forward, just like when social media first came, right? I'm not going to be on Facebook. I'm not going to be on Instagram. Some of us remember that, and we were still young and still saying that. So every time you hear a lot of people saying, I'm not going to do that, maybe go run and do it. Except for invest. If people are running into the stock market, no, don't go in at that moment because it's too hot. But for this, like it's the long game, it's the future, it's what's coming. We have no idea what it's going to become. But just look at anything in science fiction. What was Ready Player One? What was Tron way back in the day? It's already showing us where this is going. And to me, Web3 was a way to start taking the physical space to the digital space and bringing it back and forth.
Yeah, it's crazy how much Web3 has such a great impact on us. It's funny because we talk about Web3 and we discuss it as such, and NFTs are a part of Web3, right? But we don't talk about Web2 a lot, or it wasn't talked about until we, now we poo-poo on it from the Web3 side of things. But we have to learn and we have to grow and we have to use it. And in fact, we do use it in Web3 and NFTs as much as we want to admit it. It's the fact. It's just what is right now. What will be in 5 years, what will be in 10 years, who knows? But there is so much that we can learn from Web 2, hell, from Web 1, right? And all this stuff, and apply it to what we're doing today. I've seen that happen through how you're accepting this culture and this community. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on, because you were big in Web 2. You were big in Instagram, big in social media. We always battled a lot because he was really good at this and I hated social media, and we were trying to grow our nonprofit at the time, and we're like, how do we do this? And it's like, there are ways to appease the masses when it comes to social media. But I think you're well positioned to succeed in Web3 by using your Web 2 platform. And I think a lot of people in this space are too, by the way. I'm just curious if there's anything that sticks out to you about the two and how you integrate them or how you don't.
So we're already trained to use this. So Web3 is just using this now just to another level. So let's not think of one versus the other. Like, I still remember dial-up. Who remembers dial-up? Like, I can't even do it. I don't make voices, but like, it was really slow to be on the internet. Now we have all of this right here. So I think the biggest thing is don't think one is that much different than the other. Just think it's the next thing. We're moving forward. It's that next evolution. So it's not a and or, it's a both and, right? We're already doing one thing. How can we do the next thing? And how do we integrate the two together?
Yeah, that's a good point. Integration is, I think, like key throughout all of this, right? I think there's always a lot of divisiveness and everyone saying it's this way or that way. And I personally just hate the talk of it's one way or another. There's never yes, like it's, or I shouldn't say there's rarely a case where it's this or that. It's typically somewhere in the middle, or there's a range of an answer. Like, let's learn, let's adapt. Let's grow. Let's make this space better because of that. And to anyone ever saying NFTs and all this shit's bullshit, I tell you, like, look around. There's people here, right? There's right? Hey, there's an NFT in a freaking basketball league right now, Gutter Cats. There's freaking Bored Apes throwing events at NYC that'll blow your mind. There's all this stuff that's happening, and it's unreal, but it's real. It's literally there. You just have to find a way to take advantage and take use of it. IP is a big part of that, right? Your IP is tremendous. I wish we could talk more about some things, but we're not going to. But his IP is about to blow up. So, by the way, buy his art. Speaking on that matter, in our metaverse around here, you can see versions of Ruben's art. But I want to talk about your newest NFT collection, what it means, What's its utility? How is it being accessed? You can see some examples of that to the left and to the right of us, by the way. These are actually physical copies of the NFT. And there are also statues on top of the bar that were coolly lit by Davey. Shout out. So why don't you tell us about your next NFT project?
So here's the thing that excited me about NFTs out of the gate. As an artist, there's two things that are really tough for us after the fact. One is authenticating the work, right? So a mural, I paint a mural. Anyone could take a photo, anyone could post, and they could say whatever they want. And it goes on and does its thing. Or they can take one of my shirts, sell it as the Ruben Rojas love shirt, and it's a fake. It's not a real shirt. This has actually happened already. And I actually took it as flattery because I'm like, oh, I made it like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. But it happens that we have no control unless you have your copyrights and your trademarks and actually really deep pockets to go after these people, because then it gets really expensive to try to protect your IP. But what it does is now protect your IP and it authenticates your work. So with this drop, I took it, I call it Phygital Love. So those sculptures, I'm actually selling the NFT of it, so that's what you see over here, and I'm giving you the physical sculpture. And the physical sculpture has a chip on it, which is like a digital fingerprint. So you can scan that with your phone. It tells you that you own it. It links it to the digital asset, and it has augmented reality, so if you wanted to, you can be like, look, check out my sculpture right here, life size. So you've got 3 ways of showing that same piece of work and authenticating it and making it real. So that was one thing. And then the other thing, someone could buy my art for $1,000, and then they could go to Sotheby's or Christie's and sell it for $100 million. I get none of that. They made all that upside. Now with NFTs, you can actually create a residual commission, kind of like finance, right? Buying an insurance policy, buying stocks, trading stocks. There's always a trail and residuals. So that's a good way to help creators, not just me as an artist, but musicians and authors and anyone creating anything. And now you can get paid every single time you do this. So imagine how much more art you could create and not worry about selling it for millions. Sell it for something reasonable, because you'll always have a piece of that. And as that keeps selling, it keeps trading, and keeps moving in the world, you still get a piece of that. So now your practice becomes something of longevity. You create your own annuity. So those are the 2 really cool things about NFTs. The third part about this drop is that there's the digital version. There's 500 one-of-ones. I call it like my love DNA. But this and these canvases are just another, like you could buy the digital, but then I'm like, hey, do you want it as an acrylic block on your desk? Do you want it as a canvas? Do you want it on a t-shirt? You could still go and do the physical part of it and have the digital asset that does all the things that NFTs do. So it's not a either or, it's a both and. I want the digital thing, but I want to hang it on my wall. I want to wear it as a t-shirt. And that's what you could do. So that's the really cool thing about continuing to build in this space. And who knows where it's going. And then utility is like a huge buzzword. And what's happening next? So the first drop of this, later I'm going to airdrop an update where it's going to have animations. The little level flicker or something. And move on and move forward. I'm always giving away free stuff like the Love Coin or a skateboard at my other event. You start collecting those at every event we have. That'll allow you access to other things. Maybe a limited edition hoodie, maybe dinner with me, who knows? I don't even know if anyone wants that, but it's just options of dinner with Remy. I know that'll be a good one, right? So that's the thing. Sky's the limit, and it's whatever you want to do, but now you can give back more to your fans and not worry about like an event or this or that, like what's next. Or integrate your fans into this and start bringing them in and create art with them as well. So that's why it's really interesting.
Yeah, I have to say, utility is such a double-edged sword in a lot of this. I believe in a lot of utility in NFTs, but I also believe that real artists don't have to bring utility. The utility is in their art. It's beautiful. It has value. It sells. Like, it's funny right now, if you're a collector, you think we're in a bear market. I dare you to go out there and check out any of the collections that are by top-notch, real-life blue-chip artists. Shepard Fairey, Tristan Eaton. I'm just blanking on names right now, but there's so many more. If you look at the value of their pieces right now, they haven't depreciated. Why? Because there's a physical resemblance of their work out there. So there's already an essential value, right, to what their artwork is priced at, and therefore it keeps that value because these are art collectors that are collecting these pieces. This will start becoming the norm in a lot of cases.
So as an ex-finance guy, I was in finance for 10 years. What are your stocks doing right now? So like people are like, oh my gosh, crypto's crashing, Ether's crashing, Bitcoin's crashing, NFTs are in the gutter. What is Shopify right now? $30-something? It was $1,500 a few months ago. Moderna, Twitter, Netflix, you name it, look at everything out there. So it's across the board, like the inflation and everything happening right now. So don't look at one thing as something like, oh, this isn't going to work, this isn't the future. Stocks have been around and they always outperform. They always grow. This is going to bounce back. It's going to move forward, and just support the people really doing the work.
Sounds like I got to buy some Shopify. Which is going to be ironic with the next thing I say, which is don't everyone try to be an investor. Don't. But with utility, by the way, like I do want to focus on some items that you hit on. You are tying everything to phygital assets, and that's freaking awesome. I've seen artists do that. I haven't seen it at this scale where you can kind of choose, your option. I mean, you can have a sculpture, you can have a painting, you can have a shirt, right? You can have, actually, these are pretty cool. So I think that's very interesting. And I think that in a way, well, that's a humongous utility, but that's a new way of kind of thinking of utility where it has different tokenomics to it. And I think that's going to play well in the industry. And I want people to pay attention to that and be more creative with their ideas because, you see the same ones over and over again. And they're good, don't get me wrong. We actually got two innovators in the house here. We got Ediz and Brett at Etched NFTs. They're always doing extremely innovative work with their NFTs, so definitely check them out, and they're pro socialites. But what recommendations would you have for artists out there and what they're doing? Like transitioning into, specifically transitioning into Web3 and NFTs, because it's a deep pool.
The same advice would apply on all of it, whether you're going into NFTs, going into your practice or whatever. Play the long game. The short game never works. The cash grab never works. The brand that's like, I'm going to pay you whatever to do whatever. And I don't want to use the word sell out, but like not do you. And you're like, but I need that money. I need to make rent. It doesn't feel good on the other side. So stay true to you in anything that you're doing. And you can't get mad at anything. You can't be worried about, well, no one's buying this, or I'm not making money, or this isn't reaching further, because you're a year into this, 2 years into this. I mean, I started 2014, my first mural, but I didn't leave my career till 2018. And going all in, this does take off, but I'm playing for when I'm 50, when I'm 60. I'm not paying for tomorrow. And it's starting to pay out. He knows some of the things that are happening, and it's super exciting, but it's because I stayed true to who I am. So stay true to you, play the long game, and do your homework. Go on YouTube. There's 101 videos in many different voices that if this guy doesn't make sense to you, maybe this gal will. So the research is out there, the information is out there. Listen to your favorite people that are talking about it, and don't make it religion, but just take advice from every single person. And how can you have it apply to you? Not everything will work for you. So stay in your lane and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Look at other people for inspiration, but don't compare yourself to them, right?
I got that alpha. If anybody wants it, you can get me drunk, and I might spill it. It's well said. It's. I hope everyone does take note of that, because your individuality, your personality, is what's going to speak through a lot of your art. Hence, Mr. Love himself here. Before I get into our last remarks, I do want to point out that we are going to have some questions. So if you got any and you're brave enough, or you had enough to drink, please feel free to start coming up. Or I don't know what the best way to do it is, but just put your hand up or something. We'll pass you a mic. There's a lot of artists here. This is an amazing community. I'm humbled, literally, to have you all here, and for coming out and checking this out and believing in what we've been trying to do. I'm humbled by Ruben believing me and like trusting me in this shit, because like it's not like I gave him a ton to go off of. I was like making this shit up as we go.
Basically.
Yeah, I played it off well, right? All right, good. But yeah, there's so many artists here that, like, I mean, I'm going to try to give some shout outs, but I'm totally going to miss names, so please don't hate me forever. Just buy me more drinks in the future. We got chriswood.eth, you know, we got the pro socialites gentleman that I called out. We got Mary Moon. We got Katie Chinakas. Where's Jimmy? Jimmy Danko and the Ethereals, baby, with Rad. We got Kelly Botanica. We got Perry. Like I said, this is going to be hard to call everyone out. But the point is that there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of talent here. Talk with everybody. Engage. Everyone can always help anybody with something, or you might just want to collect something cool, and the person that you're talking to might have something cool to collect. It's worth talking with them and engaging with them and understanding where they're coming from. And now the sales pitch. We have our NFT. You can see an example of it on the little screen when you come in here. Poor marketing on my part, but it's a hand NFT, and it's about reaching through the dimensions of the present, the IRL, and the metaverse, and that's what it signifies. And it actually functions as your membership. It's what gets you in here. It's what gets you into our future events. It's what puts you on showcase as an artist. And you can mint that as a membership whenever you'd like. There's a QR code there. There's also a QR code for Ruben's NFT right below it. And it's a love token, and it's free. So he's not charging you for that. So do it. And it's a beautiful love coin that's going to have future utility, actually. It's really cool to look at. And then there's also his pieces. So you heard the utility here yourself. There's a lot of value to it. His art is beautiful. It hangs in many prestigious homes. So definitely orient yourself with it, and really appreciate it. Want to give a couple shout outs before we take questions, because if not, I'll forget. Okay. You want to go now, or you want to? Okay.
So I want to add something. So do you want to know the power of NFTs? So Maria's a screenwriter. She's been doing this for a really long time. Humble is an author. He writes books. We have a ton of artists and everything. You know what you could do is you could write your book, you could write your play, I could try to fund a mural, and I could sell NFTs to fund that project. And then you're all owners of it. So let's say Maria writes this movie, sells it for $1 million, and you all help fund it for one NFT. Let's just say it was worth $1,000. Let's say it does what Maverick just did. That $1,000 you put into that could turn into $10 million for you. That's the power of NFTs on top of everything else. So you can start funding your favorite artists and owning a piece of this. That's utility. Mm-hmm. That's investing. And then Maria's got these fabulous green pants. She's got a lot of great ideas in the back, so.
It's very true. Invest in people you believe in. They'll make everything worth it for you. Want to give thanks across the room. Michael, thank you so much for everything you've done, buddy. Somnium Space is our partner in this, and Michael is a part of them / just a dope G. And that's thanks to all the VR. When we're done with this, we have 2 VR headsets. Jump in there, blow your mind. It's freaking awesome. I probably should have done a.
Art in there, right?
Huh?
There's cool art in there.
There's very cool art in there, right? You guys should check it out. What you were seeing before was literally a live party that was happening in VR. This were people in the Czech Republic, in Paris, in Florida, in Nevada, and I don't know where else, and they were all getting together in VR, and the DJ that was playing in there is actually from Florida. He's from West Palm, near where I'm from. And I should have talked about that more, but that's what it was actually happening up here, and that's the music that you were hearing live when you first walked in. So that's, in my opinion, pretty cool. So thanks to Somnium. Big shout out to SoHo Friends and SoHo House. Davey, Curran, Stephanie, y'all are awesome. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you. Yes, give them a round of applause. They fucking deserve that shit. Big thank you to Roji, who's been helping us and helped start our project. Martin and Maria, who are not only my partners in this project, but also partners in Roji. So thank you guys very much. Mike Prasad, if he ever showed up, I'm going to give him shit for that. Don't worry. Want to give a big shout out to Humble the Poet. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for sharing those amazing words. And a big thank you to you, brother. Thank you for coming up here. Thanks for taking the time and shooting the shit. Hopefully this was fun. And if anyone has any questions. You got one over there? Just come up if you can.
You talked a lot about following your true self and how you came out of finance in order to do that. My question is, how did you find your true self? How did you find the passion ultimately encompassed who you are today?
So you said passion. Passion's a funny thing because someone just asked me a question. What's the difference between passion and love? And that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But the short story is I went into finance. I made a boatload of money. And I defined success in who I was via money, via what the American dream is. Diamond watches, 26-inch rims, houses, boats, and bikes. Then I lost it all. I'm like, wait, I'm still here. These things aren't here. How did I find my value in that? And I had to start finding myself through that. Then I went into finance, found myself in the same path. The difference was this time I didn't allow that to define me. And I was down the path and I was really realizing like, dude, I'm depressed. I don't want to go to work. I'm unhappy. I don't want to get out of bed. And I have no baggage, no kids. I'm fit. I live in LA. Like, why am I feeling this way? And I started digging inside and doing the work and figuring this out, which led me back to art. So I was always an artist, but it wasn't encouraged. It wasn't discouraged, but it wasn't what was told was the path. And that's kind of the roundabout circle of how I found this. So the voice was in me. It told me something was wrong, but I had to hit rock bottom before I listened to it. And I'm not saying you need to hit rock bottom, but the voice is in there, and just maybe sit there and ask yourself, you know? And I would say don't confuse passion with love, because you could have passion for sports, you could have passion for hobbies, but then you could actually fall in love with that hobby, and now it's something else above and beyond passion. Did that answer that?
Yeah. In more context, I also work with finance, so I know that's kind of the route.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think we had a question back there.
And thank you, Courtney. By the way, anything that we ever do social media-wise is good because of her.
I have two questions, sorry. The first is about AR. Do you work with AR, and did you do something in AR? I mean, actual reality.
So in 2016, when I put AR on that mural, I had a buddy who was a tattoo artist and said, hey, I have this program, let's play around with it. And that's how we created the activation. And then there was an app by HP, Aurasm or Aura or something, that never really worked well. Or maybe the app was then bought by HP, but that was the app that we used to try to activate it. And it was before snap filters, which did help a lot, and before any of that other tech. But again, what was frustrating is I kept putting out there and I'm like, this is super cool, but no one wanted to go through the effort of actually activating it. But I think now we're in a completely different space where people have the patience, but you also only need to open up the camera now.
But I'm thinking the glasses coming soon or something else.
Well, I don't like wearing glasses unless they're sunglasses. So
I mean AR glasses.
yeah, it'll be a learning curve, but I'm super excited for them. Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking, when's Apple going to drop these things?
Yeah, and this technology help this market. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the as an artist, what I want to do with it is, you know, sometimes the mural goes up like that, and like, oh, there's a new mural, cool. Let me take a photo, let me share it. But you forget or don't realize, like, I was there 4 or 5 12-hour days painting this thing. My body's wrecked, I'm sunburned, and I'm dead tired when I'm home. So I want to show, like, hey, put on the glasses. Here's the AR experience, a time lapse of me painting it. And then maybe the chapter 2 is, why did I paint it? Why did this brand collaborate with me? And actually dig into the purpose of the artwork beyond just putting up something cool.
Awesome. Thank you. And the second question is, do you have some technology? Because for art, like for advertising, is important how many people saw that and what kind of people it was. Did you check that with your technology? And if not, I know how to do it.
Send me an email. It's interesting because you always want to track KPIs and you always want to track CPMs and you always want to track cost of acquisition, like, and across all the different things. So how can you actually streamline that quicker so that we as artists, because honestly, a brand's gonna be like, well, how many eyeballs is it? How many impressions? They're thinking that. I'm thinking, how much impact am I gonna make? So how can we measure impact with those metrics that actually make sense to an executive that's crunching numbers and an artist that wants to change the world? So I think that's the gap. Like, how do you put that together? And what's that metric?
Love that. Anyone else have questions? Questions?
Cool. Everyone enjoy. Have some VR. Have some talks. Get some drinks.
Just gonna say. Just real quick, how can everyone follow you, Ruben? That way we can find out all the wonderful things that you have going on.
Everything's kind of under my name, RubenRojas.com, at Ruben Rojas on Instagram, livethroughnlove.com. Or just Google me. That works.
And on the other side of things, Infinite Spaces, NFT Spaces is where you follow us. And that's how you get all of the info of all of these awesome events.
And yes, Remy does have an Instagram if you want to follow him too.
The big main of the show right there.
Thank you, everyone. Keep
Thank
enjoying.
you for coming.